Hello and welcome back to another Gunpla review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the real grade Gundam Mark II. So this is one of the earlier real grade kits, back when they would use basically pre-assembled inner frames. You'd get this little runner and you'd have all the bits of the inner frames, like the legs, torso, and the arms, all pre-assembled. You'd just nip them out and you'd snap it together, and then you'd really quickly just have the inner frame fully built up, and then you just build all the armor around that. And this was one of the first really, really good real grades, because a lot before were fine from my experience, although some were pretty awful, like the RX, the first one they made. That kit is bleh, not fun. But this, on the other hand, this is really nice. As you can see, there's a lot of detail in here. I haven't even panel lined this thing. I just applied a lot of the decals, which really shows you how much I liked it, I guess, because I usually don't apply this many decals. But as you can see, well, you can't really see here, but the eyes are actually separate parts. Like, there are separate little green bits in there. They're just missing the black outlines. So what I did is I applied the sticker, which was just so black, and you're supposed to apply separate, like, foil green eye stickers, but I just applied the black just to give the outline. You can't really see the green that well on camera, and in person it's still like, a bit harder to see it, but I still think it's a decent effect, and you can see the actual plastic a lot better on the front cameras, because, yeah, it is the actual stuff, and even from some angles, it kind of light pipes a bit. Let me see, yeah, there, and it looks really, really nice, because that's just green plastic. There's this feature on the kit, which I really like. A lot of real grades do this. The little muzzle in the mouth, instead of just having that as detail, you have to panel line. It's actually a cutout that goes through to the inner frame of the head, which is very, very nice detail. We also get the two-tone gray on here, which is not too visible, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I kind of wish it was a bit more visible, but it's still pretty decent. And we do get a little bit of that on the heads. You can see right there. The V-fin, which I did, like, bend slightly, and kind of see at the tip of the left one. But, oh well. And we have some more nice clear green bits here. Chest vents, some more stickers. These also lead through to, like, an inner frame. And for the back, we have the really nice backpack design. These are some of the only loose bits on it. These little verniers, if you pose them too much, yeah, they are kind of articulated on ball joints, but if you pose them too much, they fall off. But when I'm actually trying to show it, they don't. But just a lot of times they do fall off. We have some of this cool, like, varnish tube here. Now, you're supposed to have a wire inside of it. It's a little copper wire, but it's so tiny, you have to cut it to be really tiny. I lost one from one of the sides, but it doesn't matter. So this side actually has the wire. This one, though, you can see I can just squish it like that. It doesn't, but it really doesn't make any difference. It can still move fine on here, so it doesn't really matter. And then, my favorite details on this kit, we have the opening cockpit. So this bit pulls out, and then rotates upwards. What the? Yeah, so it rotates upwards, and then the red part, you can see it's doing that, so it folds down. This is also very, it's not loose, like, it stays on, but it likes to open up a lot, so I may have to tighten that sometime. And you can see into there, the cockpit. You can't actually see it that well. Hold on. As you can see in there a bit better, so they actually molded in the entire chair where the pilot would sit, which I think is really, really nice. Still can't see it that well. And it's very nice that they molded in the chair, because some real grades would basically just mold in, like, a secondary door in there, like what the new Gundam does, and also the Force Impulse, and probably a lot of others. Never like that. It's just cheating, basically. But this actually has that cockpit detail, and it's not just that. So sadly, there is no sitting pilot figure, but that's a standard for real grades. But they actually molded in, well, not molded in, it's like a whole separate part, that little red ball that a lot of these, like, kind of metal Universal Century suits would have, things like the Sazabi, and, of course, the Mark II. So if I disassemble the torso a bit like this, you can already see a bit of it in there. So this is basically the 360-degree cockpit. So basically the entirety of the inside of it was all just a whole screen, so you could see from all angles, and it's pretty cool. Of course, the actual kit's not a screen because it's tiny, but they did actually make an entire little ball in there. They even showcase it on the box art, which is neat. I always just love that attention to detail. It's just, like, It's really, really nice to see that, especially since a lot of real grade kits nowadays just don't bother with you in molding in like the seat, much less the entire cockpit design, which is something the real grade Sinanju shares too, I believe, since it actually reuses elements of the Mark II frame, so that has it too, which is nice. I don't know if the actual mobile suit has it. I'm pretty sure it does. It's been a little bit since I've watched Unicorn, but I'm like 90% sure that it also has that little 360-degree cockpit. Down in the Gundam, you can see there's a lot more detail here. These are my favorite front skirt armor pieces on a Gunpla kit, just because of, like, the stickers. Because they give you, like, such a nice level of detail on there. These little gray stripes, which I really miss, and also the fact that these are fitted to the part, which I really, really miss. On the back, the rear skirting armor isn't as detailed, but it's still pretty nice. And of course, you can see up here we have these, showed these a bit earlier, the articulated thrusters, and they can actually move pretty nicely. I think these are thrusters. And then, of course, on the other side, we also have beam sabers, which are very nice, because you can disengage them like that. So you rotate that forwards, and then you can reach the hand up if you have, like, the open hand. You can reach that up to grab the beam saber and actually pull it out of there and hold on to it, which is really, really cool. Again, love the attention to detail on this thing. Moving down to the legs, we have a lot more really nice detail, some of these nice foil stickers, and I will note, I didn't use all of the stickers. I used a lot of them, but it's nowhere near all of the stickers included in this kit. There's still a lot, which really gives you an idea of how much this has. And also, the shoulders have these nice big stickers. Some detail on the sides of the arms. I applied these ones kind of crooked, so yeah. There's supposed to be this little red line kind of running across the entire, like, arms of the kit. And the legs back here, we have more of that kind of varnish tube. This stuff is really annoying to, like, get in. Especially these ones down here, which you can't even see. Well, kind of, from the side. You can kind of see that. They're all very annoying to get. And the only one that was kind of tolerable was these bits, but then getting the wire inside of them was hard. So just, varnish tubes, they look really nice, but they're just really not fun to manage. Get some really nice color separation here with these little yellow vents and these nice gold stickers. More of that really, really nice gray decal detail. Some nice armor splitting here. And yeah, so overall, this is a very, very nice, I've said this like a million times, but it's a very nice looking robot mode. And by the way, I will mention, this kit is just straight built, no panel lining done whatsoever. Only thing I did was just apply a bunch of the decals. But that's it. As for size, here it is with a bunch of Universal Century Federation suits, all 1/44 scale besides, 2 Master Grade kits in the back. And here it is with some Xeon / Neo Xeon suits, and the Ashimar. I know technically, a Fetty suit, but as you can see, there's no room there, and it fits in much better with the Xeon stuff. And for some more direct size comparisons, here it is with the Sazabi, Unicorn, and Jim's Sniper 2. So it's about standard size for, I guess, like an early Universal Century Gundam. Even though it's kind of mid-Universal Century? No, not really. Well, I guess this is kind of a size comparison too, because this is 1/44 scale. So, just kind of neat to see the scale if a Gundam was just like, walking around like your neighborhood or something. As for accessories, I guess first of all I'll talk about the onboard weapons on the mobile suit. There are none. Besides these beam sabers, there are no weapons built into the Mark II that I know of. I guess except for if it like tries to burn its enemies with the thrusters. I don't know. But yeah, so we do have these beam sabers here. As I showed earlier, you can pull them out like this, and then detach them, which is really cool gimmick how they kind of slide forwards like that. These are pretty bog standard beam sabers for most part of my camera would like to focus on them. No? Okay, well, there we go. So they're just these little boxes. They do have a tab in them for going into the hand. Speaking of, we have 2 hands we can use for this. First of all is the real grade articulated hand. I don't like these. They look fine, I guess, and they are very impressive with how they are articulated. But they're just not really good at holding things. With the beam saber, it's fine, I guess, but it's always a bit fiddly. So as you can see, we have a little tab here, slot here, and you just slide that in there, and then you wrap the fingers around it, and that's already coming out, because the tab connection is not very strong on here, and that with the fingers, it's fine, I guess. So that's what it says to do to attach a hand on the box, but I guess you could also attach it into here for a more solid fit, although hand is blurry, and it also is the trigger finger one, so you're always going to have that trigger finger sticking out and could look kind of ugly. We also get 2 beams in the box, one of which I don't know where it is. It is not in the little Ziploc bag where I have all the accessories, but it is somewhere. And this just snaps into here, and it's a standard real grade beam saber. And I would do a pose to show it off, but I can't. It really just doesn't fit in this hand. If you thought it didn't fit well when it was just the handle, try it with the actual beam saber itself. Well, the beam effect part. And by the way, we do get 2 of these articulated hands, and we do sadly only get one that is not the trigger finger hand. This is, and we do sadly only get just the one for one side, but I mean, it only has 1 beam rifle, so I guess it's fine, but there's also the bazooka. Next up, we have the beam rifle, and that's actually pretty nice. So we have a movable handle here. We have some nice kind of multi-layered detailing here. We have like 2 tones of gray, and of course a removable E-cap or E-pack, forgot what it's called. We actually got some pretty nice detail under that. And we do have some spares of these I'll show off later. And of course this fits into this hand. It's the standard splitting apart hand, or the sandwich hand, I guess. So you just split that apart, put the gun in, and reattach it. You have a nice solid hold, and then you can attach that into the wrist, and you can get it into some pretty cool poses. And of course, if you want to pose it, like holding this handle as well, like the 2-handed thing, you will have to use the other articulated hand, which could get pretty annoying. Those things are also very delicate. I lost part of it for my real grade Granddaddy Gundam. Next up, we have the beam bazooka right here. So this is also very nice, just like the rifle. We have some color separation here. So we have the gray for the handle and the magazine. It's darker gray here, and then we have some nice white. And of course, there is a little sticker for the sight. Oh yeah, that reminds me. On the rifle, almost forgot about this. We do have a little pop-up sight with a sticker in it. Although this is very loose and likes to just flop around. Yeah, so this bazooka is pretty nice. The handle can move for positioning it on the shoulder. Of course, magazine is removable. We have some spares of that, which I will show now, actually. Yeah, so we have just one spare here. It is identical. It's exactly the same as the other one. So you can swap that out, which is pretty cool. Always love to see spare magazines. And finally, in terms of weapons, we have the shield. And this, again, I keep saying this, is very nice. We have a lot of detail on here. Some decals I have applied, just nice gold ones. These are the only mandatory stickers on the kit, since these are supposed to be yellow on the original design, but they're gold here. We have some nice color separated red, huge AUG sticker right here. On the back we have a lot of detail, so we have movable attachment bit here, the spare E-caps or E-packs, I don't remember, for the beam rifle. We have this little bit here, which I believe is a missile launcher. And then we also have a nice sliding and collapsing gimmick. This can be attached to the Mark II over here on the back, so you just plug it into that hole, and you can articulate it a bunch. Very solid connection, although the frame can't really hold it up. Usually these frames are pretty tight, and it is on this, but it just cannot hold up the shield. This joint in the torso, if you move out the second joint here, that's absolutely fine. So you just have to be a bit more careful, I guess, when posing this. Just make sure to use this joint, not this joint. Once again, looks very nice in a pose. Same with the bazooka, which I forgot to pose earlier. Also, I lied. We do have one more weapon for the kit, which is this, the Vulcan pod. So usually, like with the RX, for example, the Granddaddy Gundam, they have the Vulcans just built into the head. But the Mark II instead, for whatever reason, has it as a separate little module you can attach. So this is actually very nicely detailed. This antenna is very delicate, so I can't really store this thing in the Ziploc bag. I store everything else because I feel like it's just going to snap. So basically, whenever I put this thing on the display shelf, always have to have this attached. It does also have a nice little green foil sticker, and something cool, they actually molded in little holes where the bullets probably would come out of. So there's two holes right there, which is pretty cool. And this pretty easily just slots over the head. We have these little slots on the side of it. So you just slide this over and attach it in. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort. And there we go. It just locks into place. And there are the Vulcan pods. So you can just shoot that around. Not going to do a pose for this because I don't want to do one where it's just standing and just looking somewhere, really. Because that's all you can do with this. When we're using the Vulcan pod, that is. And we're almost done. Next up we have one alternate widespread open hand, which is very nice for posing. We have a base adapter. If the RX is anything to go off of, then this thing is terrible. And finally, one of my favorite accessories that I miss with modern real grades, the pilot figure. Which for some reason new real grades don't come with anymore, but I miss these guys. They were so cool because you can actually get 1/44 scale pilot figures. So pilot figures are to scale with like your high grades, and of course the real grades are included with. And this one, I usually do a lot more painting, but this, I only did a little bit, so I just chromed out the little visor, because I assumed like a Titan's uniform would already kind of be this color and didn't bother painting on the rest of the detail, even though this is the AU colors for the Mark II, not the Titan's colors, so let's just forget about that. This is very, very detailed for the size. It is like the size of my fingernail, even though my fingernail is very, very long. But it is still very small, and it's very detailed, too, which is really nice. And if you want sense of scale with the Gundam, there's a person. Let's move that down there. You can see, like, the head is as tall as a person, and I have this little city back here, too. There's a person. Also, love the fact that this is just, like, a generic pilot figure, too. Just have a regular, like, normal suit, I guess. So that means if you're buying multiple of these, they can be like random soldiers. So it's gonna be like a grunt unit, or if you want like the actual main, like the main Mark II, then that can be Camille. So now let's move on to the articulation. So first of all, I'm just gonna mention this kit is solid. Besides a few aspects of it, first of all, as you can see, it's a very solid little kit. But first of all, there's like the verniers I showed. The cockpit likes to open sometimes. These little bits like to come off sometimes. Same with these. Every once in a while. It's not too common. But the most loose and annoying thing on this is in here. So I actually took off these parts because I lost one. So in here there's supposed to be a little cover that goes on that kind of hollow bit in the middle of that hip joint. And so I lost one of them. It just fell off while I was messing with this, and I have no idea where it went. So the other one I just took off and put in the accessory bag just so I don't lose the other one. So it's going to forever remain like missing those parts, even though you never really see them, but I'm always going to know that it's missing that, and that is very annoying. Also, the V-fin are very, very delicate to see because they're very thin and tiny. Now, so at the head, we have a ball joint, so you can look up a little bit. It's like a hinge in the body and a ball joint with the head, so you can actually look up a lot. Wow. And then down into it, also pretty good. And then our side to side, again, very solid, and it can turn all the way around, although I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can. And as for the shoulders, the shoulder arm removes separately and is kind of clipped onto there. This bit kind of likes to separate sometimes, only on this shoulder though. On the other one it's fine, kind of, not really. And we have this separate moving bit here, so this can move, and this joint in the shoulder can move. So it already would give you like an okay amount. But then this shoulder section can move up, although at a certain point it does split. And then this joint in the shoulder can move, so you can end up getting a lot upwards. So you can almost get like the full upwards movement to pull off like the last shooting pose, even though why would you when this isn't the granddaddy, but it is an option, so that is pretty cool. And you can also like flare these up a bit if you want to make your Mark II like even cooler. We have bicep rotation on here, which can go all the way around. A double jointed bend at the elbow, which gives you everything. And then we have the wrist here, which is just on a ball joint, and then with this little cuff bit kind of hovering there, but it's still fine. Like when you rub off the hand, it doesn't fall out immediately, so that's nice. And you can get some pretty nice movement out of that because it is a ball joint. When it comes to the torso, we get that much to the front, which is pretty nice considering how chunky the torso really is. You can't really see it on camera, but it's a good amount. And then out to the back, again, that's actually very nice. And then the side is also, very nice. It's a ball part with like the real grade Sazabi, which is pretty impressive given that kid had like a bunch of like joints in it. This only has like a few little ball joints. On the skirt armor, I love how solid this is. It has this bit sticking out. It's kind of hard to explain, but it has a bit sticking out. And then these two parts, the gray bit and the white bit here, they sandwich it. So you get these very solid skirting armors, like unlike, again, the real grade Granddaddy, where they fall off constantly. They are the most annoying thing in the planet. But anyways, you rotate that up. At the hip, let's see, is there a dropping mechanism? I don't actually remember. Well, it looks like there is, but don't really know how to access that. A little switch anywhere? No? Okay. It looks like there is a dropping joint in there, but I can't really figure out anything, so I'm guessing there isn't, but kind of dropping hip joints don't usually help that much, so it doesn't really matter. But as for the kicks, we get that to the front, which is parallel to the ground, which is very nice. Rear skirting armor can move out of the way, which is always like a premium feature, I guess. Rotate that out to the back, which is actually the same amount, which is very impressive. Let's see the splits. We move out armor, and we get basically full splits. We have the full thigh rotation. Probably one of the nicest knee bends on a kit. So you bend the whole thing, and it splits this armor up here and slides this armor up here. So it all kind of folds out like that, and then when you straighten it out, it all just fixes itself, kind of. It's really, really nice. That's another thing I miss with real grade, since modern ones just don't do that for some reason. It's like all the best parts of real grade are just gone nowadays. And then we have a joint in here, which is pretty cool. It slides this armor up and down, and the stuff in the back, which is pretty nice. It's a bit finicky, though. We do actually have some pistons in here, but I don't think they actually work. Can't really see them, but yeah, so there are pistons, which is neat, even though I don't think they work. But we get a little bit of ankle pivot. So as for our actual like splits on the ground, it's pretty decent. And then for backwards movement, it's wow, that's really good. And oh no, the pistons do work. Maybe, yeah. No, so the pistons do work, which is very nice, and we get that all the way to the back, which is just insane. And for the front, it's pretty decent, given the fact that it would usually just be blocked by the front armor, which it is, but it's considering the fact it's blocked by the front armor is very nice. We have a toe bend down here, which, wow. And, of course, this armor here can just wiggle around, and it's kind of like on a ball joint system. So, overall, that piece fell off. Overall, this is some very, very solid articulation for an old real grade, too. This was one of the first. Yeah, this is some, like, articulation on par with, like, modern, real grades. Besides, I guess, like, the butterfly movement, which, actually, no, that's still really good. Yeah, it's very well articulated. I also forgot to mention this earlier. This bit opens up at the back for storing the bazooka, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so overall, this is a fantastic real grade kit. It's, like, pretty solid for the most part. It articulates incredibly, and it has some pretty nice accessories. This is honestly everything I look for in a real grade kit. It has the surface detail I love, even though I haven't panel lined it. It has some, like, insanely nice looking decals, really good color separation, nice, like, clear green bits, actual opening cockpit with the little ball inside, and the seats actually molded in, meaning If you want to take one of these pilot figures, you could, like, customize it to be sitting and then glue it in there, which is just insane. I'm kind of tempted to do it. And the fact that, yeah, it actually has a pilot figure, unlike modern real grades. It also has the two-tone white, which I really like, which, again, isn't in modern real grades. And just overall is a fantastic hit, and I recommend it. It's also on, like, the cheaper end of the spectrum when it comes to real grades. So, yeah, I say go for it if you're thinking about getting this. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it has working pistons that I didn't even know about until this video. Like, I knew it had them. I didn't know they actually worked. Yeah, so that's it for my review of the Real Grade Gundam Mark II. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, then don't. And yeah, bye.